Hello, in today's Vikram Moneywise video, I'm looking at how many credit cards should one really have. Now, this is not a very easy question to answer, but I'll try and raise some pertinent issues which I think are relevant to try and address this particular question. Number one, I think it quite obviously is directly related to your income, and which is where I see a lot of people out there actually in a problematic situation with credit cards, whereby their credit card debt is very high. They are unable to pay back the credit card companies either fully or even partially, and sometimes not even the minimum which is due, which is very bad, absolutely not advisable, because the dues keep ballooning, they keep mushrooming, they keep growing higher and higher. Eventually you might get to a stage where you owe more than what you've actually spent, which is absolutely not worth it at all. So that's something which I want to touch upon, which is the fact that when it comes to credit card usage, prudence comes with income. And because if you're not able to pay, then obviously you should be in a situation where you either not use them or use them in a certain way. So that, with that background, let's go ahead. Because just because you don't have an income, should you not have a credit card at all? No, I don't think so, because I've been through those stages of life. Now let me start with stage one, when a lot of us are students, we don't have any income as such. Let's take into consideration, say, these students who work part-time. They might have some subsistence income, but that is rarely going to be enough to probably pay off any sort of major credit card dues. In that instance, what I do recommend is the fact that you should have one credit card as an add-on from your parents. And that way, let me explain before you jump to any conclusion, because that way what one can do is that the parents can actually monitor, because I've seen typically that it is that very stage where misuse of credit card, indisciplined usage of credit cards happens maximally. So that's why, to avoid such a situation in the first place, and yet that credit card gives you security, which is why I come back to saying that just because you don't have income of subsistence minimum income doesn't mean you should not have a credit card, but you can have one credit card as an add-on from your parents, whereby you have that discipline, your parents are monitoring your usage, and at the same time you can use it as and when required. My advice would be that you should minimize usage and always stick to emergency sort of situations where you don't have enough cash, or something small which is urgent, important, and yet at the same time can possibly be taken care of. Like, what I feel is that as a student, you have that one credit card, so you know that, say, online payments, something small, something which can easily and conveniently be paid using your credit card, vis-a-vis having to go somewhere and pay cash, or whatever be the scenario. I would say that having that one credit card as a student makes sense. Second would be, as a professional who's already working, fairly well established, but not say in the higher echelons of management, but let's say at a middle rung, I would say that 2 to 3 credit cards, that's where it makes sense. Now you would say, why that particular figure? I say that because what I see is that with each different bank, each different credit card entity, the benefits per se are different. What I see is that, say, X bank, if it offers certain benefits, then there's Y bank which offers, say, those X benefits plus other benefits, So, or it may be a completely different set of benefits. What I see is that certain credit cards have tie-ups with certain restaurant chains, certain shopping, maybe malls or brands or companies, versus some other credit card which may not have a tie-up with those same brands, same merchants, same outlets, but others. And likewise, so therefore, to maximize these benefits, it always makes sense. And at the same time, see, this should not be your only benchmark. You should look at the credit cycle with which each card gives you. It's not always the same. Some might give you 45 days, some might give you 50 days, some might give you any day in between, some might give you a little more, some might even give you 60 days, so you have those 2 solid months you to repay your credit card outstanding without, and if you pay in full, then you don't incur charges. That possibility also exists. So therefore 2 to 3, because beyond that you're at a middle rung, you will probably not be able to sustain yourself. And it's just not about that, it's also about keeping track of expenses. The way I see it, you have too many cards. Each card has a different date on which it is outstanding. However much you will say link to your bank account, such that you don't have to remember those payable dates, and you can just auto debit that amount from your bank account. But then you may not, or those payable dates may be different, and each time, to ensure that your bank accounts are sufficiently funded to ensure the full payment is gone, that may not always be easy. So that's why 2 to 3 is fine. Now finally, I would say that those who are at a higher level, say fairly well successful, well established, doing very well, I would still say 4 to 5, that's it. Because again, if you exceed, because there is no end to it. Today what I find is that one could have maybe 20 credit cards, or maybe even 50 credit cards, because there are so many different banks. Within each bank you will find that each bank is offering so many different credit cards, so there's no end to it. How much are you going to incur? And eventually you'll probably get to a stage where you're going crazy, and that's where I say that even if you're very well established, doing very well, good income, everything is fine, but still I would say 4 to 5, that's it. You'll be able to manage better, and trust me, within those 4 to 5 you can actually make the best choice, because there are some really good credit cards right at the top, where each card will give you such good benefits that you will really not feel the need to have too many others. You can just manage with those 4 to 5, and the overall picture that will emerge from those 4 to 5 cards would be such that you will definitely not feel the need for more. So that's something I wanted to share in this video. Please feel free to share your thoughts as well, and whatever you think in terms of the number of credit cards that one should have. When it comes to other aspects related to credit cards, debt, etc., please feel free to subscribe to Vikram Moneywise. I'll keep sharing more thoughts on this particular channel. Thanks so much for watching.